Well, with frigid temperatures coming both today and tomorrow, this next segment, kind of cold itself. BronxWorks and BronxNet is partnering once again to take a dip against homelessness at the 2019 Polar Bear Plunge. Now, here with more details on this year's Plunge is none other than Ken Small, Director of Development at BronxWorks and Clinical Coordinator for the Homeless Outreach Team, and Mariam
Alami.
Alami, I want to make sure I got it right. Mariam
Sure,
Alami, who is here with us as well. And we are glad to have you both share with us here.
Darren, it's good to see you again.
It's that time of year.
Yes, it is.
And it's the right day, too. I'll tell you that.
It's starting to get cold outside.
Yes, it is. So, honestly, with all seriousness,
Yeah.
this is a serious problem that we have here in New York City.
Right.
Is homelessness. And you guys have actually taken the reins in really trying to address the homeless issue with this particular event.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that occurred to us some time ago is New York City has a significant number of street homeless persons, and organizations like BronxWorks, working in conjunction with the city and various city government agencies, you know, we've really had a major impact in terms of reducing the number of visible street homeless persons, but nevertheless, it remains a tremendous problem. And we thought that one way to bring attention to this was to do something like having a dip against homelessness. So, Darren, as you know, this is now something that we've been doing going back to 2014.
Right.
And we see this as an activity whereby you and me, a typical everyday person, can, for a period of anywhere from 10 minutes to 20 minutes, get a sense as to what it's like for a person who's been street homeless for days, weeks, months, what they must be experiencing, and in particular on cold days like the days that are coming up.
And talk to us about going out. I mean, obviously, you're out there on the front line, too, as well. Talk about the work that you do.
Yeah, so the BronxWorks Homeless Outreach Team, otherwise known as HOT, operates 24/7 every day, all hours of the night. So our team is out in the streets identifying who is chronically street homeless, and we're engaging them. We're trying to see what services they're interested in, whether it's coming into a drop-in center and getting out of the cold for a night or 2 nights, offering them beds if they qualify, and eventually working with them to get permanent housing, right? That's the goal, is to get them out of the street, make sure they're safe, and have the services available to them.
And Ken, what kind of numbers are we seeing?
The numbers over time in terms of street homeless persons in New York City overall has declined. And there's been a pretty significant decline in the number of visible street homeless persons in the Bronx, if you use the year 2005 as a base year. But again, as I said, if you have one street homeless person on a very cold night in the Bronx or in New York City, that's one person too many. So there has been progress, but it's been slow and steady progress. There are literally hundreds of folks who used to be street homeless persons here in the Bronx who are now in permanent housing as a result of the work of BronxWorks, as a result of the work of other CBOs, and as a result of the efforts of folks in government. So we've made progress on the issue, but it continues to be an issue that we have to keep our fingers on.
Yeah, our thoughts, wishes, and our hands really go out to those people who are working on the front line and those who have really been affected by homelessness, particularly here in New York City. Those numbers continue to rise. Homeless shelters are continuously full, and there's some great people with boots on the ground doing some great work trying to make sure that the city's homeless are taken care of. And as we said, BronxNet is doing its part, and we laugh and we joke, but it's a very serious matter. But we're doing our part, and we're partnering with BronxWorks for the Bronx Polar Bear Plunge, and just to really take part in this, guys and girls are bearing it all, literally, out there for it. So talk about the Plunge.
The Plunge itself is a real fun event, and we can thank Michael Max Nobby to a large extent for this. He came to us back in 2014, and he said, hey, you know those folks out in Brooklyn do this every year. We need to do something here in the Bronx. So we kind of have a little bit of a Brooklyn-Bronx rivalry going on. And the event started back in 2014 with not a whole lot of folks, like maybe 7, 8 folks. But each year subsequently, The dip itself has grown in terms of number of participants. And I think what's even more important is the fact that it's a way for us to generate additional support for the organization. So if you're unable or don't feel like dipping into the waters off of Orchard Beach, you can always support the folks who are dipping. You can make a financial contribution to support the BronxWorks homeless efforts, or you can donate clothing to selected BronxWorks locations, as well as here at BronxNet Studios.
So the way my contract is set up, I'm really not allowed to do this. And so what I will be doing is making a financial contribution, but of course I cannot dip because my contract is set up in such a way with the hazards and all that other stuff that's in there.
You'll be virtually dipping.
Yeah, I'll be virtually dipping.
But you'll be making a real statement.
But I'll be making electronic giving in order to support the cause. Because really, it's a great cause. And,
Yes.
and when we talk about the lives that are really at stake,
Yeah.
and you really put it in the full perspective on days like today.
Yeah.
So talk to us about a day like today. What goes on today? Like, today, tomorrow, it's going to be frigid temperatures.
Yeah, we're expecting a code blue today, which means that temperatures at any point during the night will go to 32 degrees or under with a wind chill, meaning we have folks that are very vulnerable in the Bronx and throughout New York City. If anyone sees a homeless person or someone who appears to be homeless on the street, we strongly suggest that they call 311, and that will dispatch our team to go make contact with them and offer them services and hopefully get them off the street for the night.
Is there a time frame? Like, usually by the time a person calls 311, like you call 911 to get somebody out there right away. 311,
there's urgency behind it, so we try to get there as soon as possible, within the hour or so.
Yeah. I was going to say that we try to get out as quickly as possible once we receive the information from the 311 operators. We do have maps, and we use GPS devices to try to, as quickly as possible, identify where the persons are. So if we get good, accurate information in terms of the 311 call, that increases our ability to get there quickly.
Yeah, and so once again, we encourage people today, if you do see anybody out there in Manhattan, the Bronx, or wherever you're watching, and you see that there's a person homeless in the city area, please dial 311, and 311 will get you that necessary. It's like the 911 system in many ways. It will get somebody from a homeless outreach team to be dispatched out to that person, and then they'll be taken care of, especially in days like today.
Yes.
Today is bad here in New York. You think about Chicago, -20, numbers like that, and these aren't temperatures to actually be playing with. So if you see somebody and you can't do anything for them, the least you can do is pick up the phone and dial 311, and it just might, make a difference in their life, honestly. So,
Exactly.
Once again, let's give the date and time for the Polar Bear Plunge.
It's the day before Super Bowl Sunday, so it's Saturday, February 9th. Activities get underway around 11 o'clock at Orchard Beach. The dip itself starts around 12 noon.
Okay, so I do have a legal excuse. I will be with my son on a college football visit, so I will not be.
The excuses
able to
keep
attend.
coming.
Yes, what I'm saying. I just got to keep,
But you'll do the virtual.
I will do the virtual and the electronic. Yes, we will do that. All right.
Always a pleasure.
And thank you for the
so
great work
much.
that you're
Of
doing. I really
course. Thank
appreciate it.
you.
All right, listen, we come to the end of our show today. We want to thank our guests for joining us, but most of all, I want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recablecast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimus Channel 67. If you have Verizon Fios, that's 33, or anytime on the web at BronxNet.org. And that wraps it up for us here on the set of Open. I am Darren Jaime, making sure to keep this channel wide open. I want to say thank you to all of our viewers watching on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, my sister Ann and the crew. Listen, take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.